mentioned. I'm tired. I've been in front of the computer screen. I arrive home, or maybe I'm even on the journey home. I'm on the train traveling home, and there's a sort of feeling of boredom and emptiness and not feeling emotionally fulfilled. And so, yeah, I just start flicking through my phone. And, it starts off with something that I'm interested in, but then one thing leads to another. And, uh, and my eyes are even more tired. And after a while, it's not really satisfying. And I'm just trying to sort of fill a gap, but in a way which doesn't really work. Yeah. And I sort of end up even a bit more kind of alienated, out of touch with myself, kind of bored, and so on. Yeah. So yeah, how can I find what I really need? Well, Gernon was talking earlier about coming on the bus here this morning and just trying to practice appreciation. So, rather than, the tendency towards trying to distract yourself from your kind of state, actually sort of turning out and, appreciating the blue sky, maybe appreciating the trees, or even, appreciating the bus driver, or do you see what I mean? Just taking something on, trying to be sort of creative in that situation, in that moment, to find a kind of deeper satisfaction. Yeah. Does that make sense? That kind of creative choice. Yeah. Another example we gave last week was, maybe you've been in some situation where you've been blamed for something. There's been a bit of blame or a bit of criticism, and it came at a time maybe where you were feeling a little bit kind of low or a little bit vulnerable, so it kind of hit you. So yeah, internally in your mind, you just go into a sort of story about that. You try to sort of explain it away, but the story becomes, a bit kind of one of self-blame, self-criticism. You go down a kind of bit of a plug hole. You feel even worse, and then, to take away that pain, you find yourself in front of the fridge, just looking for an experience to kind of plaster over the lack of satisfaction. And you end up eating too much, or and again at the end of it, there's a kind of a feeling of not really very satisfying. Yeah. So yeah, how can I find what I really need? Well, last week we talked about, well, even if the blame wasn't fair, even if the criticism wasn't well done, in a way that just comes with life. Yeah, that's just part of life. The kind of the underlying thing that you need, in a way, is self-esteem, is self-love, is self cherishing. Yeah, and if we're in a kind of positive state, we can hear criticism, and we can ask ourselves, well, is that true? Is there anything in that that's helpful that I could kind of take on, or what do I know is actually just that person and their kind of view of things? Yeah. But when we're lacking self-esteem, it's very hard to do that. We're just kind of blown about by what's going on. So in a way, what you really need is love, self-esteem, self-metta, loving kindness is how we would talk about it in Buddhism. So yeah, is there a way you can try and find that? So that might be talking to a friend about what happened and asking them, do you think I'm like that? And it might be, just giving yourself something pleasurable, sort of being kind to yourself. It might be taking, if you've got a tendency to low self-esteem, taking on a practice of once a day, just writing things down that you've done well recently, and just sort of countering that tendency. Again, do you get the basic idea? Yeah. Just trying to find what you really need, so you don't have to kind of do these usual reactions. Yeah. Maybe one more example, and then we'll go into the reflection. Hi there. That's all right. Welcome. So another example might be, I'm really engaged at work. And working hard, enjoy my work. It's good. It's good what I'm doing. Um, but and there's kind of pleasure that I get from it and the satisfaction I get from it. Uh, but it starts to get a bit driven, starts to get a bit like, well, I want to get this much done, and then I want to get this much done, and then I want to get this much done. Yeah. So something which, it's definitely kind of got something really positive and good in it, starts to turn into something slightly kind of craving, as it were. Yeah. And of course, once that starts to happen, it starts to become less satisfying. There's more kind of pressure. There's a sense of never getting to the end of things. It's always more, 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 more. And, that probably becomes stressful. It probably becomes less satisfying. Yeah, just a sense that your life is never complete, as it were. Yeah. So, yeah, again, what do I really need? I need to see that life is never completed. I need to see that any kind of project, it's just as much about the kind of process and enjoying the process of it as the kind of end point. I need to see that recreation is really important, that stopping and doing different things will make me more effective. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? So, working out what you really need and then getting really practical about how am I going to build that in? How am I going to give myself that? Yeah. So that's a few examples. So perhaps what we'll do now is we'll just go into a little reflection, just to sort of think about that in relation to your life. So maybe first of all, just noticing the quiet of the room. If you like, just taking 2 or 3 deeper breaths. Let the shoulders drop. And then we'll just have a few minutes to think about something in your life which you do, chasing pleasure or avoiding pain, which you're not satisfied with, which feels limiting, unsatisfying, maybe even harmful in some way. See if you can reflect on what can trigger that. Maybe there's certain situations or conditions or people. So, with a sense of kindness and understanding of when and how you can get into that behavior. And then also just noting, acknowledging what happens, how it leaves you, what feels unsatisfactory about it. Again, with kindness, you're not beating yourself up, you're just acknowledging. And don't worry if you don't understand it all yet, that's fine. Might just come bit by bit. And then asking yourself in that situation, can I feel or understand what it is that I really need? What it is that would give more real satisfaction? And can I think of just maybe some quite small ways just to start finding that for myself? What do I really need? Are there ways I can start to find that or give that to myself? And again, don't worry if it's not all obvious straight away. Okay, so we're going to bring this little reflection just gradually to a close.